Alright, hey guys. Today we're going to be tasting the Redrock Brewing. It's the Redrock Brewing Company's Firebird IPA. That's what it looks like right there. Alright, it's pretty cool branding. Okay, so it's an IPA. It says that they used a Brewing hop gun to add some extra punch to the hops. Also that the brewmaster uses some Belgian malts to create a counterpoint to the hop character. You know, brewing is what it is. You can really go crazy with it. Okay, that looks lovely. There we go. I hope you can see that nicely. Alright, it pours very clear, nice head, big bubbles that seem to be going quite quickly. It's an IPA, so not only did the brewer actually say that they use a hop gun to get extra hop aroma in there, but I'm expecting a lot of hops, so let's go ahead and smell it. Alright, straight away I'm smelling, it smells like something quite fruity. It's quite fruity, but it's also got a nice earthy type touch, which is interesting. And it's not very strong on the nose, but I am picking up those hops, which is a good sign to start off with that it's an IPA. Alright, let's just talk about the style quickly. An IPA is pretty much the most popular brewing style for home brewers and craft brewers, and it sells the most pretty much out of all the craft beers available. The reason is because it's got like a light body like a lager, so it's very drinkable, but it's got a really strong bitterness and punch from the hops, and it's often got a little bit of dry hopping just to increase that aroma later on. Guys will tend to at the 60-minute part of the boil, they'll throw in a handful of hops and let that sit the whole way through the boil, and then not only that, but they'll often do a bunch of late additions and dry hopping to really bring the hops forward. It's supposed to be nice and clear like this. It can go a little darker than this, but this is generally what it looks like. And it's got a very sort of low-key malt. You don't tend to use crystal malts or anything like that for sweetening. If you did, I mean, I have done it in the past as well. If you did, you'd use very little of it because you don't want to get too much of that sweetness. Let's take a look at this quickly. It's got some nice little lacing going on there. I quite like it. And let's give it a taste. That's a drinkable beer. Goes down quite nicely. Straight off the bat though, I'm not getting the desired bitterness. I'm not really picking up that punch of bitterness. And flavor wise, let me just... Okay, I'm getting very low malts. I don't want to go too deep into it, but the history of IPAs comes down to England when they used to have a colony, in India, and they used to send their beer off, and in order to preserve it for longer, they used to put more hops in it. Well, that's the story I've heard. A couple of local English guys tasted it and went, wow, it's got more hops, but it tastes fantastic, and it became a style. That got adopted by America, who just went overboard and put a whole lot more hops in there, and that sort of became the American IPA that we know. He might be going for an English IPA style, but the hops don't tell me that. I'm not saying the hops are American, but they smell fruity. I'm getting that feeling from an American IPA, but I'm not getting that bitterness. Okay, this is a very easy drinking beer, which is good for an IPA. It actually doesn't even have the amount of flavor I'd expect on the late side. I'm just not picking that up. I'm being honest, maybe it's the bottle. I picked this up at Tops at Spa. Maybe it was left in the sun for a bit, but I'm not picking that kind of off flavor up there either. But that being said, it's a very drinkable beer. I could definitely have a couple of these with my buddies. It's great. But if you're expecting that typical IPA punch, I don't think you're going to get that from this. If I had to say anything, I'd compare this less to even an APA. I would actually go with more of a blonde or I would say English ale. But the thing is, the English ale would have a lot more yeast character, and that would be brought through. And so I'd say a blonde, very low malt character, not too much hop character, just easy drinking, hot summer's day type thing. But that being said, again, this is a very drinkable beer. I'm gonna have to go ahead and rate this, I'd say a 1.5, because 1.5 out of 5, that is, if you don't know, my rating system is out of 5, just because it's not ticking all the boxes for me. it's just not ticking the IPA boxes for me anyway. If it was a blonde I was drinking, that's pretty standard stuff for a blonde. But yeah, so I'd go ahead and give this a 1.5. I couldn't go much more than that, but it is a very drinkable beer, and if you're not looking for the style of an IPA, well then it's a very drinkable beer. Go ahead and get a bottle of it. It's, as I say, it's a cheaper than usual craft beer. It's about 20 Rand at Spar. And it's tasty, so go ahead and let me know what you think. Leave a comment and that sort of thing. Subscribe if you're into craft beer in South Africa and you want to, you know, be part of the community. Also share with your friends if they're getting into craft or if they're into craft. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers. I'm gonna go enjoy this out on my balcony. Thanks.